You hear about it all the time in the news, but what actually is GDP? And why do a lot of people think it's massively overrated?
Gross domestic product is the total size of the economy over 1 year. All the spending added together. Our meals, phones, rent, unused dumbbells, that Audible subscription that I keep forgetting to cancel, this giant sack of tea bags I bought. It's important because the size of the economy affects how many jobs there are, how high wages are, and how much the government has to spend on things like the NHS, schools, and giant sacks of tea bags. When GDP goes up, the economy is said to be booming, and when it goes down, the economy is said to be in recession. But why do a lot of economists think GDP is overrated? Well, because it's used to represent the well-being of our entire economy. But all it's actually showing us is the economy's size. It's like a doctor assessing how healthy you are by just measuring your height. GDP doesn't differentiate between good things like tea bags and bad things like bullets and drugs. They're all counted towards GDP equally. If you take acid, GDP also starts tripping. So GDP might be going up, but it might be just because we're all peeled off our tits.
GDP also doesn't tell us anything about the quality of what's been bought and sold. Like downloading the latest Taylor Swift album, which is incredible, I love her, she's a queen, contributes the same to GDP as downloading the latest Scouting for Girls album.
Also, GDP completely ignores the impact that economic activity has on the environment. In fact, countries with less environmental regulations are likely to be rewarded with higher GDP. That's like catching someone speeding and instead of fining them, just giving them a big certificate that says I'm a fast boy. And, perhaps most importantly, GDP doesn't tell us anything about who's benefiting from the extra money. Here's a clue, it tends to be these guys. GDP might be going up, but so might homelessness and use of food banks. Between 2000 and 2008, GDP went up, but the average wage of the average person flatlined. The extra money was about as evenly distributed as the likability of the Good Morning Britain presenting team. Maybe, rather than solely focusing on GDP growth, the government should measure how the economy is affecting our planet, our health, or perhaps our happiness.
As I keep saying, and oh God, I hope it's true, bigger isn't always better. It's about what you do with it.